I did, I got some great photos of like sunsets. It was so much fun.
That's incredible. It's a beautiful place.
We're supposed to try to go to the waterfall this time. We didn't make it. There's supposed to be like a waterfall that's a few hours away. We're gonna try to make it this time.
Oh,
Where is that, Janae?
Deep Creek Lake, Maryland.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Western Maryland.
Yeah, like
Beautiful.
throw from Pennsylvania, basically. But it's gorgeous. It's so quiet up there. We have one of the places that we stay at has this gorgeous view of the lake, and you can see the boats and other houses. It is just an absolutely beautiful place up there.
Nice.
Give it another couple minutes for folks. All right, I think we might get another couple stragglers, but I think we can kick it off so that we don't go to the wee hours of the morning, right? Vanpooling's cool, but it's not that cool. Thank you everyone for giving up some of your evening. I'm Ben Matters, Program Manager for Vanpool Alliance. We've got Denise here, our Program Associate, and we've got Janae, our Senior Program Associate, and our boss, Mr. Joe Stainsby. So I'll kick it off to him for a couple words, and then we'll have the main show, Kathy Mullen from DRPT, to roll out a cool program. Hear from Phil Smars from Navy Yard, and then maybe we'll do a little bit of round table, see what everyone else has got. Does that sound like a plan?
Sounds good.
All right.
All right. Good evening. Thank you, Ben, and thank you everyone for joining us for the fall kind of 2024 Vanpool Council meeting. These things have always been meant to be a place where we can come and have friendly, candid conversations with stakeholders and Vanpool vendors and people from the state that have information about programs that they're running. And looking at these celebrity squares in front of me, that is precisely who we have on the line tonight. So I thank you all for continuing to take the time to do these things on and off for the last many years. And I'm looking forward to hearing about what we have going on. So thank you so much. And I'll kick it right back to Ben. Thank you.
All right. Kathy, if you want to share your screen, we can jump right into it.
All right. Okay, can everyone see my screen okay?
Yep.
Okay. Welcome, everyone. I think I know most of you on the call, but I am Kathy Moline. I am a commuter assistant program manager for the Department of Rail and Public Transportation. I oversee what they call ROVA, the rest of Virginia, and my counterpart, Gabe Ortez, who most of you may know, does the Northern Virginia commuter assistant programs. Thank you, Ben and staff, for hosting us tonight. Some of you may not know who DRPT is. But our mission is to connect and improve the quality of life for all Virginians with innovative transportation solutions. These solutions are promoted to the general public, to businesses, and to community decision makers. So vanpooling is one of our solutions. There we go. Most of you know, everyone here knows and understands how COVID affected not only all of us in some fashion, but how it truly affected vanpooling. You know, vanpools pre-COVID were 900 plus, operated in all of the Commonwealth. The goal of this program is to boost the number of vans and ridership so we get back to that pre-COVID numbers. So for this project, DRPT developed an open, fair process for bids on new vanpools. So offering vanpool groups multiple choices to select a provider. We also updated our van save procedures so that they are universal across the Commonwealth. And it will be available to you all in the next few months. But we also developed an introductory pricing incentive program for new vanpools. So as I go through these slides, I will use different names. So I thought it would be good to give you the definitions of the names. So I'll talk about vanpool provider. So that is you. You supply a van to a vanpool group that leases on a monthly fare. A vanpool group is a group of workers with similar travel patterns and work in close proximity to each other who agree to be riders or drivers in the vanpool and share the costs. The vanpool coordinator is the person designated by the vanpool group to be in contact, to be the contact person for the group. And the commuter assistance program representative, a lot of words, but I'll say CAP representative. That's a person who is from one of Virginia's local commuter assistance programs. So Ben, Holly, Janae, a DRPT commuter program manager, myself, or a contractor working on behalf of DRPT. Sure what's going on, but anyway, I hope you can see this okay. So the first thing is I wanted to talk about is the price quote procedures. So this will be the procedure for this program to receive price quotes. The vanpool coordinator will get a list of qualified vanpool providers from the commuter assistance program representative, and I listed all the names. So it can be Ben, it can be myself, it can be our contractor. The vanpool coordinator will then choose from the list to seek price quotes if more than one is available. The vanpool provider will receive an email from the CAP representative with a price quote form, which I'll show you in a little bit, and it's to be returned within 3 business days. The vanpool group will then select the vanpool provider within a week. The vanpool coordinator will then notify the commuter assistant program rep once they've selected a vanpool provider. The commuter assistance rep will notify all the Vanpool providers via email whether they were selected or not. And then the Vanpool representative will email an introduction to the Vanpool provider and the coordinator to start making the arrangements to form the Vanpool. This is a sample of what the quote will look like that comes in the email to the Vanpool provider. We ask the basic things that you all probably ask now is the number of riders, the origin, destination, any additional stops along the way, park and ride lots, because this can add to the estimated daily round trip miles. This is the price, a sample price quote form that as a Vanpool provider you would receive. So we ask for, it's a fillable form. So we ask, your name, address, when you were established. We also ask the vehicle information for the new Vanpool, the year, make, model, VIN, license plate, stuff like that. We also ask for the price quote. What does this include? Does the lease rate include gas, fuel card? Does it include an easy pass? Any other costs that may be added to the Vanpool riders or the driver? And is there any other amenities included or offered to the Vanpool group? So we've described the quote procedures, we described the emails, the form. Is there any questions so far before I move on to our introductory pricing? Is there any questions from the group?
Don't see anything in the chat, Kathy.
Okay, thank you. So our introductory pricing for new Vanpools, as we all know, more vans, more riders can bring down the cost to get into vans. So here's how we are looking at doing it with this project. We are looking at offering $99 a month fare for 4 months for each rider in a new Vanpool and or new riders in an existing Vanpool. And then after those 4 months, it'll be bumped up to $125 a month fare for an additional 2 months. So we're giving 6 months worth of incentives. To be part of the program, Vanpools must begin with a minimum of 5 riders in a 7-passenger, minimum of 7 in a 12, and minimum of 8 in a 15-passenger vehicle. Van start will not be allowable with this program because we want the vans to already have this number of riders. Employer-based or employee-supported commuter transit benefits can be applied to the Vanpool fares. Vanpool providers, there's many of you who go out there and actually work on setting up vans. If you form a van yourself, you do not need to go through the bid process. Okay. And we ask that Vanpool providers agree to this introductory pricing, and DRPT makes up the difference between the introductory pricing and the regular fare. So for instance, if it's $1,000 a month, and I'm probably very lowballing that for a van, and you have 5 passengers times the $99, that comes out to $495. And then DRPT picks up the 505. So to make you whole, basically. This is a sample of the monthly forms required by the Vanpool providers. It is pretty similar probably to what you're using now. The Vanpool ridership report, this one is filled out by the Vanpool coordinator. All we're asking the Vanpool provider to do is verify the vehicle revenue miles as well as the passenger miles traveled. We just want, you know, to verify that those are true and correct. The other form is a form that is sent to the Vanpool provider fills out and is sent to our contractor in order to get paid for the vans for that month. And we are, as part of this, we are asking, DRPT is asking for the vehicle revenue miles and the passenger miles travel so we can evaluate the program's success at the end of the program. I know you guys already do this each month with your NTD reporting, but we also want to collect it for evaluating the program. So now I want to talk a little bit about the roles and responsibilities. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it because a lot of it, you know, the Vanpool coordinator, a lot of them do this already. You know, it's working closely with the commuter assistance program representative, which, you know, they already do, determine the pickup points route. You already do that to start a Vanpool. And submit the monthly fares in a timely manner, and reports to the Vanpool provider, subject to the reporting requirements, and assist the Vanpool provider recruiting riders. The Vanpool provider, we ask that you provide a Vanpool price quote to DRPTs or the CAP program representative within 3 business days. There's nothing really new here that you guys need to do outside of what you do now for starting a Vanpool. Okay, your roles and responsibilities with Vanpool Alliance. DRPT continues to collaborate with Vanpool Alliance and their Vanpool program. Your roles and responsibility will still be the same. You still report your required data. You still get your $300 a month for the NTD data. So there's nothing really new here that we need Vanpool Alliance or you to do. So I've shared a lot of stuff with y'all, and I know you might be a little overwhelmed, but we did have some questions that we want feedback on. And so we will open it up to all of you, but we're wondering, do you feel that our new Vanpool strategies that I just presented will help increase your Vanpools or increase your ridership?
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. This is Sharon Arrington from Cool Runnings LLC. I am not sure. Maybe I'm missing something. This program is in conjunction with. It's separate and apart from Vanpool Alliance, right? So this is a new program. So where are your riders going? Basically, will you? Am I required to automatically enroll in your program, and where does the riders come from? What are the routes right now? I understand it's a partnership, but do you already have riders that, you know, are we're just going to advertise the van as part of your program? I'm missing something.
That's okay. So what we actually have, we have contractors that are actually reaching out to employers, working with our commuter assistant programs throughout the Commonwealth that are reaching out and selling the program to the employees to start the vans.
So a potential workflow, Kathy, would be for people who say work at Fort Myers, are looking for a van, and we could shop that around to folks through this program as well as ours. And you guys would provide a quote to this, say this group is Gainesville to Fort Myer. You would all who want to, be a part of this would provide your quote. And then that Vanpool group could look at the different quotes, see what makes the best sense for them. They would choose whichever one. We'd let you guys know, and DRPT would then kind of make them whole for the fair, as well as you guys do your ridership through us like you normally would, and that's kind of the partnership. So we would mostly, with potential Vanpool groups, shop them around to the different providers. So that's kind of the way to maybe think about it, if that makes sense.
Okay, so I just need to express my interest in the program to be
Correct.
included. Got it.
Okay.
Thank you.
So are you interested?
Go ahead. I'm sorry, Ben.
Are you interested, Sharon?
Oh, definitely, yes.
Okay, good. There you go.
And Sharon, if you find a Vanpool group of 5 people on your own, that would be interested in this program, we don't have to go out for bids. You can just reach out to Ben and say, hey, I've got this Vanpool group of 5. I'm interested in participating in DRPT's program. And we don't have to do the bid if you find the Vanpool.
We have hands. You guys got your hands raised. If you want to unmute.
Thank you. Appreciate you taking the time to share this. So I guess where I'm a little confused is, and thank you for that scenario here. So if we had a pool of 5 on our own, we could come to the program. But I guess where I get a little lost in is the price quote process. The price quote process would depend on what those members are able to afford. Or are you saying that our price quote should be based on whether these members are, these potential applicants are receiving the federal subsidy, which is that's not always the case. So it's almost like to determine whether or not that $99 or that $125 will make sense. It seems as if we'll need a little bit of information as to whether or not the folks who are interested can even come up to that $315 to build off of that, to see if it makes sense for you to make us whole in operating that van would make sense. So we're definitely interested, Leah Vanpool, but just trying to understand what's that baseline for that price quote, because now, as you know, one of the challenges that we're dealing with right now is not everyone is getting the full $315. And
Right.
So we have to factor that all in to figure out what would be our bottom line number for the van. In addition to that, it's not like we have vans sitting around either to say, hey, we need a little bit of time to see if it makes sense for us.
Right. And understanding that most of the vans that I work with in the rest of Virginia are not federal employees. They do not get, they don't get that subsidy. So, and if I'm looking at a Vanpool, it might not be the cost that would draw me in. It might be the amenities that come with that van. Does the van come with a gas card? Does the van come with an easy pass? That could be a determination for me versus the cost, because that can be expensive. So
yeah,
I think
that's
so,
going to be
though.
a little problematic. Yeah, I think it's going to figure out exactly how much the members would be paying to see that delta, to see if it makes sense for
Right.
operating that van and providing gas cards too and those amenities.
Right.
Yeah. Thank you, Miss, for clarifying that, because it does get, for the way I operate my van is providing the gas, of course, the gas and everything that goes with it. So without, so I'm glad that you clarified that these workers, I can't go off of it to say, okay, they're, even if they're federal workers, are contractors, it's the same fare. But now with the way this is structured, so it's gonna be it's gonna be challenging and stuff without, not only, number one, I don't have a van sitting around, so I'd have to get a van. And as
Right.
far as giving you a quote, so say they're going from, say, Richmond to the shipyard and stuff. You know, I would have to do the cost benefit analysis to see how much that is with 5 people, how much, you know, it's gonna be a kind of, I see a challenge already based on how this is structured. There's a lot of unknowns.
So Sharon, do you think the 3 days turnaround for a quote is not enough?
I don't think, no, I don't think it is enough. Not to give
Okay.
you a good quote, because if someone contacts me and said they're going to, as I said, maybe from Richmond to Newport News, and they have 5 people and stuff, that is a new route. I have, you know, have to do the cost, as I said, the cost
Right.
benefit analysis and stuff to really figure out, and then bearing in the back of my head too, said they're not more likely not federal employees. So
Right.
yeah, it's gonna be a challenge.
Are
I
you,
don't think
are
3
you
days.
guys a little more risk adverse to, person new rolling stock at the moment if folks don't have a federal benefit? Given that, you'd be left kind of cap in hand if they moved, folded, or something like that. Is that kind of what you're maybe angling at there a little bit, Sharon?
I'm sorry. Go ahead. What did you say? Repeat your question, please.
Yeah. It sounds like you might be a little more risk adverse to go out and buy a new van with folks who don't have the federal benefit.
Right.
Because maybe.
Yeah,
So I
not
mean,
only, not yet. With the thing with, yeah, I'm not definitely keen, because I'm gonna go buy the van and everything and get it insured and everything, not knowing how much I'm gonna charge that person. You see, I don't have a baseline to work from because they're not federal employees. And it doesn't matter if, okay, if they're, I should have a baseline to say, because when I do my math, I know, say, how much is my van, how much is insurance and stuff, and how much is gas. I can average all of that out and stuff currently. But then if I don't know how much I'm going to get paid, I'm only going to base it on this subsidy right here. It still leaves a lot hanging. That for me as a business, because I'm going to go out there and do this big investment. 5 people contact me and said they want a van. I'll get a van because I know that they're going to be paying me, say, X amount of dollars per month.
Yeah, it does become a little challenging. To Sharon's point is that, and then because this delta you're going to make up is only for a fixed period of time, whereas I'm on the hook to pay for this van here, it's going to be difficult to give you that quote.
Okay.
When we're calculating right now, we are basing it based off, when I get 4 people who approach us, we're basing it off the first thing that we want to get an idea of the route, because we start putting in the gas expense, but also we said, okay, are you a federal employee or a contractor? Do you get a subsidy? And I can bill it in to see if it makes sense for me to go out there and get a van. So without that, it's going to be hard to put a bid in. We're very much interested. It's just that would be information that would be helpful based on what you're saying, is that these are employees that don't get a subsidy. Now, that's okay, but we need to have a better understanding as to how much they can actually pay, or because after this 125 assistance is over, then what? Still on the hook to pay for the van. I still have van expenses to handle.
And I think one of our, I was talking with our contractor today, and one of the things that that Teresa mentioned is they're hoping that they can get the employer to pay the 99 or the 125. after this program ends. But to your point is, they still have to make up that difference once this program ends. Yeah, I understand that.
So Kathy, do you have a sense for, it's not the federal subsidy, do you have a sense for the range that the employee would typically pay outside of that? We know it's not the 315, we know it's some delta. Is it below one? Do you have a range? We're just trying to see if we can work with something here, or were you pretty
Right.
much all over the place? Because if it is a very short route, right? And we said, okay, we got 5 people. I'm not putting too much in gas. I have some fixed costs, being the insurance, Easy Pass. You got 5 people. We're good right there. But it could, we could be able to do it. It's just that we'll just need to have a little bit more parameters in providing us with some information. Look, it's the range between that they will be able to pay is 150 to 200, 250 to 2, whatever that is. It would be helpful because that will help us to put a good bid package forward.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have something like that myself. But it does make sense that it would give you guys some idea of whether or not to even do a bid for it. Correct? Or a quote.
Yeah.
Okay. Any more discussion on the new program and our strategies?
Can I ask another question?
Absolutely, please.
So with let's say it's let's say the numbers work and we're successful in receiving a bid. And it's a new Vanpool route. Does that eliminate us from receiving that bump up that we get under Vanpool Alliance? Or it doesn't impact anything on that side, right? For the
You
first
mean
2
your
years.
Vanpool
$300?
Alliance is still
Yeah.
still
Okay.
the same.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, it doesn't affect that.
All right. Thanks.
Yeah, of course.
Kathy, we can discuss this offline, but I think, there's a
Okay.
way that we can maybe help with like specifically slide 8. If they're already doing a Vanpool Alliance report that's getting passenger miles and revenue miles, I'm sure we can kind of pass that along, at least in our region. I don't want to speak for the other entity reporting programs, but it seems like if they're already doing it one place, we don't want to bug them too much. So, Vanpool is our job. We can help you guys out.
Okay.
Another thing you might want to think of also with the riders, say starting a Vanpool with 5 riders, is we got to know if all riders go to work Monday to Friday, because with the way society is and the way things are now, it's hybrid. So there are days when you maybe have 2 people or 3 people, or even 1. Yeah, because I have riders that go 5 days a week, and I have some people that go 2. So stuff like that we got to know, because then I'm providing. Then one stipulation when it's only 2 people, yes, you pay for the van for the whole month and you can ride the van. But then when it's 2 people, who's going to pay for that if you want to ride an Easy Pass? So that's another thing too.
Yeah,
The
and
days riders are going right.
yeah, and that was a question I was wondering is, do you guys allow lower fares for those 2 or 3 days a week? Or is it?
No, ma'am, it's a set monthly. It's a monthly money, and it's
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most of our vendors, you're reserving your seat for the month.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. So I was going to ask
I
about.
will say, Kathy, I will say this. I like the concept, though, that you are, this is the great thing that I like about this. It seems as if where we should put quite a bit of energy on is we have these roving contractors or what have you, which can formulate those groups And it seems as if this is a great opportunity because, you know, we get the one-off calls, hey, you got a Vanpool here. But really, if we could put a lot more effort into that part in identifying groups in advance, which will allow the Vanpools to then tap into, I think that is really critical
Okay.
here for the program itself. If we're really, really being serious about really increasing ridership, if we have, because to be quite honest, as a Vanpool operator, it is quite challenging doing that in this hybrid environment, right?
Right.
But if we
Absolutely.
have someone who can actually coagulate, pull gel together, work with these companies and said, look, you know, or these federal agencies too, wherever they are, we can pull that together. I have contractors that write. So it's not just all federal employees.
Oh,
I have
yeah.
contractors that write in. It's just that their company, right after the pandemic, saw that it made sense to increase that transit subsidy to encourage people coming back into the office. So they did that, so which worked out great for me. And they bumped that up because what we were doing working with these contractors, I mean, it was pretty much very thin profitability, but with that bump up, it really helped us to operate at a much bigger level here and having more people come in. So I think the great selling point that you have done from this study is that there is that need to have somebody who's going out there and say, hey, let's find these nuggets of
Yeah.
5 here. That's the hard part.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And sometimes getting your foot in the door at an employer's is really hard. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. So hopefully with our vendors or our contractors, we'll have some great success, and as you guys will as well. So how does everyone feel about the 99 125? And I think you kind of touched on that a little bit.
Without knowing the full baseline of and the route and stuff, you know, it's appreciated. Every little bit helps, but
Right.
still no need to, you know, the knowing the baseline and at least the route would be a good thing. But all of this is good. I'm happy, just like Leah says, for that you are, and I want to be a part of it, that you have a contractor out there, you know, telling these federal agency or any agency, say, hey, we're doing this to offer your studies to get
Yeah.
commuters, you know, more commuters in Vanpool instead of everybody driving individually and stuff
Right.
for safety and everything. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, cool. How do you all feel about the price quote process? I know
I think
some
the price
already.
quote, yeah, I think the price quote process is it's pretty straightforward. I mean, we've been doing this pretty straightforward. I think that the delta that we're worried about is, again, what is the amount that these
The
employees
baseline.
are paying? The baseline. That once we have that, the price, doing a price
Price
quote,
quote
at
is
least
fine.
for us, it's pretty
Yeah.
easy, pretty straightforward.
Okay, cool. Thank you. And how about the process for the $99 125? And I think
Seems,
we kind of touched on that anyway,
yeah.
with the first question. So so a question for everyone: how do you have any other ideas or thoughts for boosting vanpooling in the Commonwealth moving forward? Are there any? Do you have a wish list or anything to help us, you know, boost vanpooling?
This is Gojun, and I have some. We actually form. I mean, just within a few employee, we are forming a small kind of just serving ourselves. Using, we call it, then we get the car, we get the van pulling and going. And I mean, thanks for Janine and Brian to help us. But I just wondering if we can figure out a more streamlined process for like an employee to form some kind of a co-op to do this. I mean, that, I mean, not a dedicated Vanpool provider. I mean, so we can help them to form the co-op to be a provider for themselves. I know in my company, I know there are people interested in it. We have to jump through a lot of hoops to figure out what exactly to do and things like that. But I guess each person is unique. But if we have some more streamlined kind of guidelines helping people to form something like that, that would be helpful.
Okay.
There is a question in the chat from Chris Arabia.
Let me just add one more point. I mean, for example, in my company, so there's a designated Vanpool parking lot. I mean, close to the entrance. So I asked that. So they are saying no, you cannot use it because those are dedicated for for like enterprise with this Vanpool sign and more formal program. You, although you are vanpooling, but you said you cannot do that. So if we have some way to help employee or small op to form this, and that will help. I mean, overall.
So you're saying that where you work, there is dedicated Vanpool parking, but it's just for commute with enterprise vans. So years and years ago, I rode in a Vanpool. It was a private van. So you're saying private vans can't park in these?
So I mean, if our program we can make it even a little bit more formal and doing things like that. I mean, more formal kind of give us some kind of designation, provide some kind of the formal things, so I can show it to the parking management in my company. Then so I mean, for this case, I mean, I just park in whatever other place. So I mean, I'm fine with not parking there, but this is just a example. So we more critical part is really just how we figure out, I mean, form this, I mean, within ourselves and kind of qualify for this process. Yeah.
Okay. That
We can
makes
certainly
sense.
help you with, if you want, us to vouch for you or something, we certainly do that. Since you are part of our NTD program, there are some specific rules that go into what make a Vanpool provider a Vanpool provider. That's we're not going to be able to change because it's the FTA's regulations, not ours. But we can kind of talk with you offline about that if you'd like.
Okay. Thanks, Ben.
Of course. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Does anyone else have any thoughts or ideas on boosting vanpooling?
All right, I just wanted to point out that there was a message from Chris Arabia in the chat, which stated asking, would it be better or easier if DRPT paid 50% of the fare as an introductory price
Oh,
to
okay.
encourage new van poolers rather than 99?
Sharon, Lee, do you have any thoughts on that?
That's going to be really dependent on your benefit and stuff, right? So if
Right.
the feds are picking up your benefit, the 50% maybe isn't so helpful because you're just going to need to change it at some point. So I think that would be on a case by case basis.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, this is Chris. So yeah, what I was getting at is that delta, right? Because as people were saying, a lot depends on the price, but how far the distance and other factors. So it was just, I don't know. I just thought, well, figuring out $99 and $125, you know, would it be easier for you all if we just said whatever that price is as an introductory, DRPT would just do 50, you know, have the rider pay 50%, DRPT pays 50%. Would that just be an easier calculation than to have to figure out some of the other things? And maybe not. I just threw that out there just as a
Right,
as a
maybe
thought.
this is Shan. I see what Chris was saying. Maybe easier because remember, I think you said these are not federal employees. So, and we want to expand the program to maybe go to other businesses to say, hey, there is a Vanpool program available for all these 1,000 workers that you have coming here, but we will pay 50% or 25% if you pay 50% too, to, you know, let people ride a van instead of 5 of them in a van instead of 5 cars in your parking lot. So maybe, you know, you could sell it that way too to employers. So that's a way to look. I look at it too.
All right. I think we're gonna move on if that's okay, Kathy. Just in the
Yep,
interest of time.
Yeah, absolutely. Any questions, you can reach out to me or my colleague Gabe Ortez. And I appreciate everyone's time. Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming, and you know, we'll continue to work with you guys and get the good word out.
All
Okay,
right. Thank
just
you,
a minute.
everyone.
I'm sorry. So since I already expressed an interest, do I need to still reach out to you, Catherine, or Ben, are you going to just give her my information? We're good to go?
Good to go.
Yeah, we're
We'll be in
good.
contact.
Got you. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Alrighty. Have a good one, everyone.
Have a good evening.
So we have Phil Smars here. He's gonna give us a little update on what's happening at the Navy Yard. And then Lee's here from GW Ride Connect. And then if there's any time, I'll tell you how we're doing for our NTD stuff. And then I'll give you the rest of your night back. So Phil, if you want to fill us in on what you got going on, we greatly appreciate it.
Hey, good evening. My name's Phil Smars. I am Public Affairs for Washington Navy Yard. Next year, we're going to be doing a reduction in parking. Currently, we're sitting around 4,000 parking spots, and we're going to be dropping down to about 2,900. And we have 17,000 employees currently. It's a pretty big reduction. I guess like some of the challenges with it is like there's a lot of numerous commands, and it's not like like great communication within those commands. I think one of the bigger ones is around 7,000 employees. That would be like NAVC. And they have a lot of struggles with interior communications. Me, myself, though, I'm the base public affairs, and I do have distribution lists for a lot of the various commands. There's probably about 36 different commands, and a lot of these parking changes are slated for summer of next year.
Sounds like a good time to do some Vanpool formations with a nice DRPT program, right? So a little background in the Navy Yards is that's actually our most popular destination. And it has been since the program kind of kicked off. And I think just for the reasons Phil kind of outlined there, they've got a lot of people and they don't really have that many parking spots. And apparently they're going to have even less. So it seems like it'd be a good opportunity. You know, anytime we go to these transit events, we do have interest forms that we put out. So, you know, as and when we get enough people to pass along to you guys, if you guys have service in going into those places that we are, that's how we kind of meet that out. And, you know, it sounds like there's going to be some acute kind of problems there. Phil, do most people on at Navy Yard get the benefit, or is it kind of a hodgepodge? How many days a week do you need to go in? Do you know?
So right now, for like a lot of the federal workers, we don't have like a strict return to work policy. So we typically have like telework is kind of command dependent. So I think there's like 36 different commands that each handle it different. Um, Typically though, it's a minimum of going in to work at least one day in a pay period within a 2 week stretch.
Okay.
I want to say though, a lot of the commands do handle it different, but we are looking at doing like restricting base access to like a blue and gold system where like a blue pass can come in Mondays and Wednesdays, and then a gold pass can come in Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then Fridays just kind of be free for all.
Okay.
But like we're tackling it through multiple ways because there are people currently, you know, that are teleworking or doing like flexible work policies. And even right now, we have like around 4,000 parking spots and 17,000 personnel. We probably have, I want to say, about 3,200 cars in any given day, and we aren't at full utilization right now. But we do have like a lot of events and other things that happen as, you know, it's one of those historic areas. And
Mhm.
another thing that's happening too is in the northwest corner, they're looking at building a museum to kind of be like a forward facing, just open to the public as well.
Okay. We'll certainly, reach back out to you as more of that kind of construction updates come out and stuff, and we can put those out to the vendors. And maybe we do a decent amount of advertising. Maybe we can be a little more, maybe we can give you some lit to put on your desk or something, or meet out to the 36 different commands, if you will.
Mhm.
Just to kind of, give people the education so that they can make a good choice if they feel as such. But sounds like it's going to be hard to get a parking spot at Navy Yard
Mhm.
next summer.
Yeah. Like right now too, like I have a pretty decent distribution. So like a lot of the different commands at public affairs have tapped into that. Some of it's really going to come down to like kind of these commands having workers just sit there and organize and try to get stuff going and figuring out like, you know, hey, I live in Springfield, so do I, and then, you know, making it
Mhm.
that way. That's
Yeah.
that's really where it's going to come down to. We're looking at doing like another commuter fair in April.
Okay.
And I believe like a lot of these changes should take place in July of next year. There's no telling though, it could be pushed off to the right depending on whether certain things get done, as such as like zoning and all that other fun. But you know, that's given. But that's still the kind of timeline we're looking at, and that's what we're trying to prep people for as well.
Okay. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Well,
I will drop my email inside chat as well.
thank you. Lee, are you there? Do you have? I know
I
you
am
guys
here.
have.
I am here.
All right. What you got
It's
going on?
getting to the bottom of the hour, so I'll be quick. I'm Lee Anderson, the director of the GW Ride Connect program, which provides assistance to anyone operating van pools in the city of Fredericksburg, Caroline County, King George, Spotsylvania, and Stafford. In reference to tonight's topic, we could help employers in our region set up commuter fringe benefits, which also help businesses to lower their tax burden usually. So sometimes they're interested in that. We call it the federal subsidy, but it is available to all businesses to do that. We also administer the Advantage Vanpool Self-Insurance Program, which is a cost-effective insurance solution designed specifically for and only available to Virginia van pools. The program offers competitive rates and it's tailored coverage to help van pool operators save on insurance costs. If anyone's interested in that and you're not already a member, please give me a call and we'll answer all your questions and help you get started if you feel you'd like to join the program. And that's all I got.
Thank you, Lee. I will be brief and then we'll open it up to maybe last second questions and then we can be gone. But you guys do a lot of reporting this time of year to my program. So I guess I owe you some information so that you can see that we do use your data. So let me share my screen here. So for fiscal year 24, we're up 6.5%. So it looks like you guys are moving more people. So 613,000 revenue miles were up 5.2%. So kind of tracking along with your passengers. Vanpool Alliance provided just over $1 million in program payment for subsidy. So, you know, every time you guys do a report, we do provide $300 in recognition for that work and for the service you provide for the Commonwealth. In total, there's about 24 million vehicle miles taken off the roads, which is a lot, right? And I think that's an important number for you guys to kind of know and be celebrated for. If you guys weren't doing the stuff you were doing, there'd be a lot more people on the roads. Traffic, which is already pretty hellish, would be even worse, right? So we thank you guys for that. And our passengers per van is trending upwards, which is great. You know, there's a little bit of stuff that goes into that. I think some vans are overprescribed at the moment, which makes sense, right? Not everyone goes in every day. So maybe you've got a seven people on a 7-passenger van. So that looks 100% occupied, but any given day, it's 3 or 4 people on that van. So I kind of looked at our days of ridership, and Wednesday is our most popular day to ride in. I think that everyone kind of knows that. But then Thursday is our second most popular, and Tuesday is our third. No one goes in on Fridays. Shocker. Think we all, who wants to go in on a Friday if you don't have to, right? Maybe we should do that more because the traffic's not as bad. I don't know. The other thing I wanted to speak to you guys about is Vanpool Alliance decals. For those of you who have been with the program since its inception, you may still have knocking around these really big unsightly magnets that say Vanpool Alliance on them. They're sky blue. The FTA requires us to display the program name in some way on these vans. You know, we don't necessarily enforce that as much as we should, but we have been told about some folks in park and ride lots in Prince William County most recently, but it has happened down in Spotsy as well, of vans getting ticketed or towed because they think that you're just not moving. They, you know, police officer comes, looks at the lot every night at 8 o'clock, and your van poolers, you know, are very much not van pooling at 8 o'clock. You may look like that van hasn't moved for 10, 20 days because they parked in the same spot because they're creatures of habit. So we are looking at getting maybe like window stickers that just say Vanpool Alliance, and maybe we say Vanpool Alliance van. I don't, you know, we can maybe workshop this a little bit with some of you guys. But one, it's an FDA requirement, so we can send you guys some, and then we can say, hey, we sent them. And, you know, that gives us a little bit of cover, but more so, you know, it is something we can say to local police. We can say it to VDOT, you know, hey, if it has a Vanpool Alliance sticker on it, odds are it is a Vanpool van. And maybe that, you know, doesn't happen all that often, but when it does happen, I tend to hear about people being like, boo, I got tickets on my vans, or oh, my van got towed, which isn't great for anyone, right? Because then your van poolers are calling you on a Monday morning saying, where's the van? You know, I left it here on Thursday. So does that sound reasonable? Do you guys have any concerns? Would you prefer magnets? I think a window decal is a little less intrusive. It's easier to ship. You know, the magnets were very heavy. And they had a tendency to end up on the side of 95 because they would blow off sometimes. So just a little kind of bumper sticker that you could put in your rear mirror or something, or your rear window. I think that would kind of insulate you guys maybe a little bit to that stuff. You guys have any thoughts on that, or no? Is it fine? We should do it.
Great idea.
Cool. Does anyone from you guys from the audience have anything to add? Give us some updates. How's it going? Otherwise, I'll give you the rest of your nights back. You can get some supper. All right. Before I leave, I do want to thank Janae and I do want to thank Denise. They are the boots on the ground for this program. They're the ones that you guys deal with the most. So thank you both. They're great. They're the ones that kind of get all your vans in the system. If you guys have riders to get updated, those two really kind of do that legwork. And so we thank them. And in closing, we thank you as well because you guys do a lot of good stuff. My contact info is right here. You guys mostly have it. It was good seeing you guys. Have a good rest of your night. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you.